the tuition fees is a huge U-turn. You can smell the burning rubber all over Manchester.
No, what we're going to do on student finance... Look,
no, I'm sorry, it is a U-turn. Can we at least agree that?
Andrew, let's just look at what we're saying today in relation to student finance. What became clear is this isn't just an issue. Often people think about student finance as something that just worries students themselves. Of course, this is something that parents and grandparents are concerned about in terms of debt. So we have a system that provides funding for universities. We have a system that ensures more people can go to university, but people are worried about the level of debt that the students build up. So we will look at it again, but we are saying that we're going to raise that threshold at which you start to pay, which means that for those who are able to take full benefit of that, it'll be £30 a month more money into graduates' pockets. And we will scrap the intended increase in the level of fees.
Let's try again. That policy that you stoutly defended for years, which ended up with £9,000 a year fees for students, did that work? Was that a wrong policy? Was it a failure as a policy?
No, what that policy has done has meant that there's money for universities.
So why are you freezing it?
What the policy has done has meant that there are more students going to university. But when we set that policy, what we expected was going to happen is there'd be a range, a diversity in the system, that we'd see universities perhaps offering shorter courses, that we'd see universities offering courses at fees under the maximum of the fee. That hasn't happened. We've got to look at it again.
OK, you're looking at it again. Is it possible that out of this you come up with a different system, that, for instance, there's some kind of graduate tax instead of the current system?
Well, by looking at it again, we'll be looking at the issues that people are raising, we'll be looking at where the system has worked, we'll be looking at the concerns that people have. But
so a graduate tax is possible? That's what I'm asking.
All I'm saying, Andrew, is that we're looking at it again. If I had determined here and now what we were going to be doing in the future, then I wouldn't be saying that we were going to spend time looking at this. I think it's right that in the meantime what we do is we say we will scrap that intended increase in the fees, because it is the case that we'd expected some universities to charge less than the maximum, and they're not.
The Labour Party has offered to remove student fees entirely and put it on taxpayers' backs, as it were. Is it possible that the Conservatives will agree that the majority of this money should be paid for by general taxation, not by students?
I think what the Labour Party has got...
I'm asking about your policy.
Yes, and I'm going to answer your question. But the Labour Party has got this wrong in two areas. One of these is that, of course, the Labour Party made a lot of promises during the election to students, some of which they've now already gone back on. They gave students the impression they were going to abolish student debt. Now they've said that they can't do that. But the Labour Party's policy is based on the idea that as somebody who goes to university, who benefits from university, who earns more in their future life, should be paid for by somebody who never goes to university and who may be struggling to get by.
We all benefit from the fact that they have been to university, they're better educated, they're perhaps earning more money, they're more creative and so forth. We all get that benefit, so perhaps we all should be putting into that. Well, that was always what Conservative governments, as well as Labour ones, thought.
What I believe is that graduates, people who go to university, who benefit from that university education in a very personal sense, yes, they make contributions to society, but so actually do the people who don't go to university and who are paying their taxes. They're making a contribution to society as well. But if you get a better career, if you earn more during your life as a result of going to university, I think it's right that you make a contribution.
Out there's lots and lots of people who've left university and now have debts of £50,800 on their shoulders. How much of that debt is going to be affected by your change in policy?
Well, as I say, we're looking again at this issue. We're making two changes which will be effective in terms of graduates. For the one that we're raising the threshold, it's for somebody who went to university from autumn 2012. They will be affected. For those who take are able to have the full benefit of raising the threshold from 21,000 to 25,000, this means graduates having more money in their pockets.
How much more money?
It'll be £30 a month.
So a relatively small amount of money. £300 and something a year.
It's £360 a year.
£360
but it is
a year.
It is a change, and it gives them some more money in their pockets.
The students who are watching, that sounds, compared to, as it were, the banquet that Jeremy Corbyn is offering, that sounds like a bit of a dry biscuit.
Well, the point about the banquet that Jeremy Corbyn claimed to be able to offer is that he can't deliver on it. Look, you can only do this if you have a balanced approach to the economy, which is what we have. What would Jeremy Corbyn do? He'd wreck the economy. It's not just me saying that. The Labour Party... Andrew, this is an important point. At the Labour Party conference, the Labour Party themselves recognised that they would wreck our economy.
I don't think
they
I don't remember that speech.
Run on the pound from Labour. That's what they said a Labour Party would mean in this country.
OK, what's happened to the pound on your watch?
The pound fluctuates, but a run on the pound...
It goes down and down and down. It's worth a lot less than it was.
Do you know what a run on the pound, Andrew? It means people queuing up to take their money out of banks. It means people really worried about their futures. That's what a run on the pound would do. It means an economy that is going into free fall. That's what Labour would do.